People, it's your boy, Brother Winston, with another video. I ask you guys if you can to please share this video. This is, my opinion, a very important video. All right. And it's very close to my heart because I used to work a lot of fast food jobs. This is a girl right here, young woman who was working at Burger King. If you saw this in the news recently, she was at Burger King working by herself, running a whole fast food restaurant, to drive through all that stuff by herself. Okay. That's how understaffed they was. She doing it all by herself. People was like, man, they need to give you a raise. All right. Well, she's been fired. All right, she's been fired. Now, you see why you would say, wow, I worked many fast food jobs growing up, and I know this is how they do. This is how they play with you, okay? So let's move back to the beginning of this video. I'm going to offer commentary throughout this video. I can't just play it straight through, okay? That'll be against the YouTube rules. Let's go.
Well, tonight we have continuing coverage about a local mother we told you about this summer who was running a Columbia Burger King all by herself at times. Back in June, video of Nakia Hamilton doing her job went viral, and she was praised for her work ethic. She ended up becoming one of our paid forward recipients just weeks after that video went viral. She was shown working 12 hours plus, holding down the fort so that Burger King could remain open.
I be missing out on my kids' life and I work a lot. So I be having to provide for them and I really don't be having time to spend with them.
I can see that you're working 12 hours plus at a fast food job. Okay, they are so understaffed that they got you working 12 hours. I never in my life, I worked a lot of hours. I never worked 12. I can't imagine working 12 hours plus. I never worked 12 hours plus at any fast food job. I worked there. I worked at McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. I worked at a lot of their places. I worked at McDonald's 3 or 4 different times at 3 or 4 different locations. Okay, I'm telling you right now, to work there and stand up for 12 hours, that's a ton of work. All right, and doing them jobs, it can mess your knees up when you stand on them hard floors for a lot. Okay, but let's continue.
And it hurts me a lot.
Well, now she is going viral once again after she is reportedly saying she was fired. Our Brolyse Pimentel, you had a chance to speak with Nakia today. I mean, a lot of people kind of shocked at what she served up today, the news.
Yeah, and Nakia Hamilton says since we first aired her story, she's gone viral and working conditions have not improved, even with all that attention it was getting. She says Burger King fired her last week and says the way they've treated her is wrong. Nakia says her frustrations come from all of the days she put sweat and tears into keeping the store running all by herself.
Green fired me because I've been late because of my kids, bro. My kids come first. And now when y'all gonna watch my kids? Y'all don't pay for no babysitter, no nothing.
Nakia Hamilton, crying tears of frustration, posting this video on TikTok earlier this month after being fired from Burger King on Broad River Road in Columbia. Hamilton went viral on social media in June for running the restaurant solo, working 12 hours plus, doing every job to provide for her 3 children. She says the company wrongfully fired her after she was on approved time off and was scheduled to work the day she was coming back.
So
She was on approved time off.
I told them, I'm not gonna make it in time. I don't see how y'all schedule me at 12 knowing I'm leaving Charlotte at 11. And it take an hour and 30 minutes to get to work. Still got to drop kids, I still got to do everything.
Hamilton says they were...
Stop for a second. So it take her an hour and 30 minutes to get to work. So that's even more crazy. She driving an hour and 30 minutes to go to a job where she's working for 12 hours. So add the drive time into that, okay? That's a lot of time. You got 12 hours, then you got, so that's 12, then you got an hour and a half each way. So that's 3 hours on top of that. So that's 15 hours of her day basically involved in work. All right, so she has really only a few hours to do anything because then she has to sleep. And she has kids. And it's not like she did anything wrong by having kids. She can have kids. She can grow her family and see how they treat her. Knowing that she was there doing, now I'm going to tell you this real quick too. It's not easy working a restaurant like that, working a fast food restaurant in the first place, okay? And it's also not easy to do all the jobs. Most people at fast food restaurants don't know how to do all the jobs. They may like, for example, I used to work at McDonald's, right? I could cook, but I didn't know how to do everything with the register, or they would put me on the floor sometimes, okay, to maybe like to clean the lobby, whatever, all right? But I did not do everything. It's only certain people that know how to do everything. So she's doing, and then on top of the fact she's doing everything, it's a ton of work. Like I remember when I worked at Chick-fil-A, I knew how to. I was actually it's a position there at Chick-fil-A called the fillet man. Okay, it's like a guy that basically prepares the chicken and he opens the chicken up and fillets the chicken, makes it flat and everything. Because when the chicken comes, it comes like in a ball. You have to open it up, prepare it, all this kind of stuff. So I was doing that. But when I was like the fillet man, that's kind of like all I was doing. I came in early in the morning. I would do that job, and I was out by maybe like 2 or something. Okay, it was like the schedule wasn't that crazy. All right, but I wasn't there waiting on people all kind of stuff. I wasn't doing the register. But there was a time when I worked at night, so I worked like 11 to 7, which is like the all day shift, and I'm there. It was times where they was understaffed like crazy, because a lot of the people that worked there was high school kids. Sometimes when they would get their paycheck, they would just be wanting just to spend it. They wouldn't want to come to work. So I'd be sitting there. We used to joke about how understaffed we would be. Okay, at Chick-fil-A, you have your right hand doing the register and your left hand pull some fries up. It was literally like that, like a lot of the times. Okay, and it was very, very, very difficult work. Is a very, very stressful job. All right, let's continue. Let me go back a little bit.
Responded and
So I told them, I'm not gonna make it in time. I don't see how y'all schedule me at 12 knowing I'm leaving Charlotte at 11, and it take an hour and 30 minutes to get to work. Still got to drop kids off, still got to do everything.
Hamilton says they responded and told her she was terminated, so she didn't report to work the next day. But Burger King reached out and told her to report back to work the following day and to be on time. She says the franchise owner, Matt O'Doherty, went to look at her time logs for the past 2 weeks and told her she was late too often. Hamilton says O'Doherty lacked consideration and gave her a final write-up.
I was like, how I get a final written warning when I never got wrote up or got in trouble with the company?
Hamilton says she always...
See how all of a sudden now they're starting to look at her lateness? All of a sudden now they're trying to figure out a reason to fire her. It's as simple as that. They're all of a sudden trying to find, wait a second, because she's bringing bad press to the company. When they could have gotten a lot of good press by simply saying, look, we're sorry, all right, for what's happened to you. All right, we're going to give you a check just for you, for a check just out of the kindness of our heart, and out of what's due you for working like this, okay? We maybe offer you a position, working outside of the actual store, maybe working somewhere in the corporate office, something like that. How about doing that? Okay, because you're working like a slave for us. But instead they say, you know what? Let's try to find a reason to get rid of you, because they knew that if they found a reason to get rid of her, all right, they'd get rid of her and it probably wouldn't be televised. Because what are the chances that she'd be televised for being fired? Okay, but in actuality, she got televised for being fired.
Communicated with her GM when she was going to be late and says she always was okay with it because she's a single mom and a hard worker. Hamilton says Burger King and O'Doherty used absence issues as a way to get rid of her.
He was like, you caused the controversy, you caused too much problems for the job, you knew not to work by yourself. They literally, 2 weeks after everything...
You knew not to work by it. So what's she going to make somebody? She going to pull someone off the street? Somebody going to be coming in and ordering, can I get a Whopper Jr.? I'm going to need you first to make that yourself. I'm going to show you how to make your own Whopper Jr. because we need help back here. What do you expect her to do?
Now they literally made a whole contract after everything went down about being in the store by herself.
She says since she's gone viral, Burger King has been threatening to fire her for speaking.
So let's look at that again. So she not exaggerating. She literally is saying they attacked her for being in the store by herself.
Literally 2 weeks after everything went down, they literally made a whole contract after everything went down about being in the store by herself.
She says since she's gone viral.
That's y'all fault. That's y'all put her in that position. Now, if she didn't come in to work, y'all were trying to fire her because of that. There's nothing that she can do. And I've seen companies. I remember I used to work at this supermarket in Philadelphia here, okay? And I remember that they were going, and this company I was working for, they went bankrupt like maybe 3 times in the course of like a decade and a half. They went bankrupt a few times, and they kept on changing ownership. Okay, this store just had bad management. Okay, and it was like you always could expect them to go bankrupt. So this last time they went bankrupt before they eventually went out of business, I used to work there, right? And I was working there for like 5 years. And I remember working at this job. When they were going to do bankruptcy, they started firing people for no reason at all. I remember there was a guy who used to work in the produce section of the store, right? And he was a good worker. I used to see him all the time. I used to work in the deli, and I used to work in the hot food. The deli and the seafood section. Excuse me. Okay, all those sections, hot food, all that's together, right? In the supermarket. And this guy was working in front of us in the produce section. I remember this, and he was an old guy. He was maybe like, in his 60s, mid 60s. They fired this guy because they said that he was discounting discounting produce too much. Now, mind you, the store was like losing money all the time. The store was like, it didn't have great prices. It was like losing money. So him discounting food was the best thing he could have done, because I used to get food and produce certain things when it was discounted. People would come and buy stuff a lot when he discounted it. But they fired him because of that, for helping them out. They fired this man for doing his job, just like they fired this woman for doing her job. But I've never heard a job say, we're gonna fire you because you're working understaffed. How on earth is she gonna change that? That's y'all fault. There's another person I remember they got hired. I was working at the job for like 20 plus years. True story. The job was working at the supermarket, right? And they got called to our store because our store was like something. I think the woman who was working on our store, right? She had an issue with her feet, and she had to leave, and she actually got workman's comp. And our company didn't like that because they were trying to get rid of a lot of full-time workers. Okay, if you ever worked a job where they were dealing with financial issues, you've probably seen stuff like that where they're trying to get rid of full-time workers or bring them back at a lower rate. So she basically was on workman's comp. Okay, she was gone, so they brought in another guy. This guy was in the bakery. All right, he brought this other guy in to be the bakery manager. And I remember that he was bakery manager maybe like 3 weeks, and then he got fired, and they fired him because they said that they caught him eating like a roll without paying for it. And he was a full-time worker, and they fired him in such a way so that he couldn't get any like retirement. And I was like, that is insane. So they were looking at the guy, and on top of the fact that the company like had all these cameras now installed to watch everybody, every move. Okay, so they found a little thing this guy did and fired him, and he got no retirement because of that. I said, that's evil. That's wrong.
Burger King has been threatening to fire her for speaking to the media about her solo shifts, but says they never provided help or extra crew members for her. Watch Fox News reached out to Burger King about the termination. In a statement, a Burger King spokesperson saying, quote, "Terminations are the decision of the franchisees who own and operate the BK restaurant. In this situation, the franchise confirmed the individual involved is no longer employed due to repeated attendance issues. Burger King says no one should work alone, and they're disappointed their policy wasn't followed. Hamilton says she's planning to sue the company.
I feel like that's emotional.
I hope that she can sue the company. I hope that a lawyer will see this video, maybe or my video. If you know somebody that's a lawyer that can help this woman, please send her my video, send her this Watch Fox 57 video, okay? Because she definitely needs representation, and she definitely should sue. You see that I'm not a lawyer myself, but I can see here that the Burger King company is trying to shift the blame to the franchise owners, okay? Because you know how a lot of these companies work. Essentially, the store itself or a group of stores, they'll be owned by a franchisor person, essentially, that is like a owner unto themselves. So even though they have the Burger King products, it like allows the company to stay outside of any kind of guilt, because you can say, oh, well, essentially this is them and they're a world unto themselves. We don't have any control over what this franchise owner of one store or 3 stores, whatever case it be, does. Okay, so she said, I'm gonna sue because at the end of the day that was wrong, and she's 100% right. She should be able to sue for all kind of pain and suffering, all kind of stress. The fact that you had me working at a fast food job for over 8 hours. Okay, I don't even think she was even a manager. Was she even a manager or a high-level manager to be working that long? Either way, working at fast food period over 8 hours is insane. I remember years ago, for example, true story, I needed a job. I was out of work, or I was out of work for like 6 months. Okay, sleeping on my mom's floor. And I remember I was walking a long distance trying to apply it at every job I could find. I remember the last place I went to was a place on Broad Street. It was a McDonald's, okay? And I went to this McDonald's, and I remember I got hired last at everybody. It was like they were hire all these people, right? And I got hired last. And I was older. I was maybe like in my late 20s when I was older at this point, right? Got hired at this job, right? McDonald's. And when I went there for like my first day, I was true story. I was sexually harassed by a female manager. She was putting her hand on my butt and all kind of stuff, and I didn't like that. But I needed the job so bad. It was nothing. I feel like nothing I could say. I needed the job so bad. All right, and they put me over the fries and stuff, right? So I'm working with the fries and everything, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like heat coming up from the machines, and the heat coming up from the machines was so great, I literally couldn't stand it. And I worked at McDonald's 3 or 4 different times, but at this point, I realized I just can't take that. And they asked me to do all like 1,000 different things. I'm like, I worked this job so many times. What's the problem? I realized that as I got older, I just couldn't do it anymore. Okay, and this woman she's probably a little older than the age I was. Okay, and I said I can't do this anymore. And he was just coming up, and I felt like I was about to faint. I really felt like I was about to faint. On top of that, I got this woman sexually harassing me at the same time, and everyone's moving at like 100 miles per hour. It felt like, okay, this type of work, it may seem like, oh, anybody can do it. No, anybody cannot do it. Okay, and they're extremely underpaid. They really, really are. I used to think, you're working at fast food jobs, you get paid a little because you do a little. But the reality is that in the way the world works, the people a lot of times that do the most work get paid the least. You know, if someone gets paid the least, you think, oh, they get paid the least because they're not doing a lot of work. That's not necessarily the case. They're getting paid the least, but they're doing a lot of work still. That's why they say work smarter, learn to work smarter, not harder. Okay, and that's really true. You know, learn to work smarter, not harder. Like right now, for example, right? In this past month, I made hundreds of dollars on YouTube. All right, I usually don't post that much on YouTube. I used to post more on YouTube like a year ago when I used to do my lives. I used to make money on YouTube then doing my lives, but I started filming a movie. Okay, but now it took a year. It took a year for me to do, so I had to take a break from that. Okay, we still in that process right now. But when I got back on, I just started putting out videos on YouTube on my phone because I said, you know what? When I was putting out videos on YouTube with all the cameras set up, with all the stuff set up, and all my lights and everything, YouTube barely pushed my stuff. Okay, because YouTube, the way YouTube is set up is really set up in a real dumb way. Or they basically just push whoever you want to push. They push people now who are essentially who have more subscribers than anybody else. They just push down because now YouTube is designed so that they can run ads on your video even if you don't get paid, even if you're not monetized, even if you can't get paid, they'll run ads on your videos, which they used to never do. So now it's not an incentive for YouTube to give you money. It's an incentive for them to keep you not getting any views. That way they can make money from you while you don't make any money at all, while you don't get a piece of the pie. Okay, so now I'm gonna put videos up on my phone and take it easy. All right. So now I'm not working hard. I'm working smarter. I'm just putting videos up on my phone, and now my videos popping more than ever. Okay. So I hope that this woman, she can find another job where she can do the same, where she can just work smarter and not harder. I'm not saying that she was just smart for working at Burger King. She had to work a job so she can make income for her and her children. All right. But at the end of the day, I hope that this is a point in her life where she can change from what she's been experiencing, because it's so much greater than Burger King. But definitely Sudie behind, okay? Definitely do that.
The stress on that y'all neglected me at the job for 2 days, and you saying that Burger King responded and said I put the job in danger. I was a liability, but how, if y'all knew I was in the store by myself for 2 days, and I notified my higher ups and the man that was over the district manager?
2 days. 2 days, y'all couldn't find nobody else to be work with her. That's insane. You know what? The district manager should have came down. I remember one time I used to work at McDonald's in the suburbs, and when stuff like that would happen, our manager, okay, and she had a lot of issues with her, like she'd be smoking right in front of your face in the store while you're making a burger. But with all of that, okay, you getting smoke blowing in your face. With all of that, this woman, if something like that happened, she'll be right there with you, working with you, right there with you. If she saw we was understaffed, this woman would come and make burgers with you, okay. So no one never had nothing bad to say. No, people could see she had issues with. No one could say that she didn't work and that she didn't help out. Here, her job, the managers, they sitting at home, all right, while she working by herself. That's disgraceful.
He told them, well, that's sad to hear that, and he still let me run the store.
All right, so broadly, it's a very complicated story here, but I do understand that just before this story aired, you heard from the franchisee owner. So what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, we actually just received this email moments ago, and friendy Matt O'Doherty tells me that Nakia chose to resign. However, in an official statement today, Burger King corporate told us Nakia was terminated.
Wow, so a lot of back.
Okay, so y'all lying. Simple as that, y'all lying. And I'm glad that she was terminated. Okay, I'm glad that she was terminated. Use that story, make money from it, keep putting videos up, girl, and get monetized online, get money from that. All right, and then figure out something else that you can do. Okay, go online and see what people are doing and see if there's something that connects with you and do that. Okay, if she hasn't done it already. I hope and pray that God moves in her life right now in Jesus' name. I pray that she succeeds in all that she does, okay? Because that's just messed up, but it's not a surprise. I've seen all kinds of stuff, not a surprise, man. I've seen stuff just like this. I've never heard someone being in a store by themselves, though. You got single coverage for 2 days. That's insane. But the fact that this happened to her, it's not a surprise to me. It shouldn't be a surprise. It's not a surprise to folks who are working fast food, sad to say, okay, y'all? So hopefully this video will cause you to gain a little bit more respect for those people at these fast food jobs that you see. That you may look at them and say, yo, give me this, give me that, and just be shouting at them and talking to them any old kind of way. We shouldn't be doing that, because that's a hard job to do. I worked those jobs since I was 14 years old. I started working at McDonald's when I was 14 years old in the suburbs, because in Philly we had to be 16 to get your working papers. So I had to leave. I went to the suburbs because I needed money so bad. I went to the suburbs just to get a job. Okay, true story. And we're working them jobs consistently. I was working those jobs consistently until I finally stopped. All right. And by the grace of God, I was able to work for myself. All right. So I'm telling you right now, we got to treat these people better. All right. Yeah, y'all. So thanks for watching. Please share this video. Okay. My videos grow by people sharing them and by hitting the like button. So please hit the like button on this video. Please do not watch this video and don't hit the like button, okay? Because it causes the video not to be seen when you don't hit the like button, all right? Please hit the like button and please share the video. Thank you guys for doing that. Until next time, God bless. Peace.